Welcome to the To The Point podcast, a weekly Bible-based conversation about the things that matter most in everyday life. Join Pastor Andy and Kathy Addis for a kitchen table conversation as they talk about life, marriage, parenting, faith, culture, and more, all through a biblical lens. So pull up a chair, join the conversation, and let's get to the point.
All right, here we are, To The Point. How are we doing, dear?
Good, we're good.
Say, we are trying to figure out technology. Let's be honest. Probably most podcasts are like ours, but if you assume we're like a big time podcast with like producers and engineers and all of that, I'm doing all that right here.
Right
here.
It's you
and me. That's it. And while you are great color commentary, when it comes to the tech side, it's not really your thing.
I can do this. I don't have to know how it happens.
You're a tech director on the weekends, but this is podcast level. This is beneath you. You've never learned how to do these lesser things. Yes. Anyway, did y'all know that Kathy was my boss early on when we were both in media and we were in college? She was the floor director. I was the anchor, the talent. I was the talent.
Yes, the talent.
And you were my boss. You were bossy. You really got it done.
I had a job to do.
Yes, you did. Yes,
I
did.
did.
All right. Well, that was not a very good steward of an intro, I don't think.
Oh,
because we are talking about for the last couple of weeks and 2 more weeks, being a good steward in our family. And we've talked about a couple of issues, time and relationships. And now we're going to get, this week is actually on the most steward thing of all stewardship, which is
Steward of
stuff. Yes, it's where we always use the word steward for. It's that it's how do we take care of the things that actually are ours. So we're going to start by also remembering that as people we are in family, and as we're in family, that means that we are dealing with stewardship at that level. It's not just how you deal with stuff. It's not how I deal. It's how we deal with stuff and how we come to the table on the same issues. That being said, money and disagreements remain one of the top predictors of marital stress and divorce. Can you believe that? After all these years, it's still the same thing. What they mean by predictor is if you don't handle finances well, it's a predictor of marital stress and divorce. If you don't have the same agreement on monetary things. Now, you and I have done premarital counseling with countless couples over the years. And one of the things that I found shocking is that there is his account, her account, and then an our account. And nobody's merging those. When they get married, they're saying, no, we're fine. He'll have his, I'll have mine. And you and I aren't, again, this is descriptive, not prescriptive. We're not saying you have to do this, but you and I find that a little disturbing, don't we?
Yeah, it's a little, I think it's kind of bizarre. I don't think we would function very well that way.
No.
But you know what? We say that, but you have an account for the Adi Media business. Mm-hmm. I have an account, honestly, so that I can buy you gifts that do not come out of our together checking account, and you don't always know exactly what you're getting.
So we've done a little bit of that. We sure have.
Yeah.
But generally, I mean, like, you know exactly what's in mine. I know what's in yours.
It's not like we don't have access to each other's if we wanted it. It's not.
And for us, that's because we don't want money to be a barrier between us. We don't even want it to be a mystery between us. We want it to be the
only at birthdays and Christmas.
Finances are the common enemy.
Oh, gosh.
You and I are on the same team.
That's right. That is true. We are on the same team. Yes.
And so, how are you stewarding resources as a family? Great quote from Will Rogers. I love those old country western stars. He said, "Too many people spend money they don't have to buy things they don't want to impress people they don't like." And that's still the same, isn't it?
Ain't that the truth?
Yep. And so, what if we could get past all that? If I could ask a question, kind of bridging us into Bible study, we're going to go to the book of Proverbs today. If you got your Bible out, Proverbs chapter 3, look at verses 9 and 10. But what does your spending communicate about your trust? I mean, if we couldn't talk to you, if we were some creepy analyst who got into your finances, and we just started looking, what would your spending say you trust?
It's a great question.
You have any thoughts? If they looked into ours, what it might be?
It would probably tell them that we don't eat at home very often. And we spend a lot of time in coffee shops.
So you think that's when you looked at ours, you'd say that they don't value
a home cooked meal? I seriously.
Or maybe it just says that we're lazy. Maybe that's what it says, and that we want to eat out because it's convenient and.
Or I mean, we do. We do have.
You're a boy mom.
Oh my gosh.
You said doo-doo.
That's 100% true. We do have a lot of. We have a lot of fellowship.
Yes.
Over meals. That's how we meet with couples. Our kids. I mean, if you feed them, they will come.
That's right.
So, but yeah.
That's what it communicates, huh?
Yeah.
Well, say for me, if I dove into our finances, what would I say that it communicates? It would be that we are preparing for something because a significant amount of our money is going to getting ready for
who knows what?
Well, retirement and rainy day.
True.
And we're kind of in that place where we're like, we're putting it away if we don't have to use it. So your money says something. Mm-hmm. And I wish that the first thing, if you dove into our checking account, you go like, oh, these people love the Lord. Right?
Yeah, that would be ideal, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it be? Yeah. And I hope that's in there. I mean, if you're doing the study, maybe it'd be in there. Anyway, let's take a second.
Please don't do that.
What's that?
I'm just asking. Please don't dive into ours. Yeah. Just leave it alone.
Just leave it alone.
We know.
I got you. So let's take a second and dive into some scripture. The spark for this is this just ongoing controversy, this ongoing problem with finance and relationships. But if we had a godly scenario, I think it would help us 100%. So Proverbs chapter 3. 9 and 10. I'll read it first, and then if you'd read it in the NLT. Here's the ESV. Honor the Lord with your wealth and with the first fruits of all you produce. Then your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will be bursting with wine.
NLT says, honor the Lord with your wealth and with the best part of everything you produce. Then you will fill your barns with grain, and your vats will overflow with good wine.
It's good stuff. Now, what do we do with that? Honor the Lord with your wealth. I think that's the umbrella statement over all of it. Mm-hmm. What does it mean? It means that everything that we have, we need to use in such a way that if we were audited by heaven, which we will be.
Yeah, that's coming.
If we were audited by heaven, that it would be like, yes, this gives, you're a good company man. Right? You're spending the way you should be spending. This is in line with biblical principles. And as a family, heads of family, moms and dads, we get to make the primary decisions on all that. This does not mean that everything you give away, that everything you have, you give away. This does not mean that you never have fun. God gave that to you. It's a blessing to you.
Right.
It's a matter of how do you honor God with your wealth, specifically. That's exactly what I said. It says that we do this with the first fruits of all you produce. And then it goes into this thing about agriculture, barns and vats. And so it's talking very agrarian. And so when it says first fruits, what it means is the best part of the first part of the harvest, it's the Lord's. Because we want to say, out of gratitude, we want to say that we trust the rest of it will be fine. We want to say that of everything that we've been given, God is first. If we had to say it any other way, it's simply this: God is first. And so if God is first, we would say that, we would preach that, we would amen that, we would pray that. But do we live that financially?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So let's read the rest of it, and then I want to come back to that question. You just said, what does that mean? I'm going to ask you, what does it mean to give God first fruits? So yeah.
I've been warned.
Yes, I'm just telling you, it's coming. Here it comes. Your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will be bursting with wine. Now, you could use a verse like this to kind of move in the direction of health and wealth. And somebody says, see, if you honor the Lord with your first fruits, he's going to make you rich and fat, and you're going to have everything that you need. You know, you're going to be fit, pressed down, shaken together. But I don't think in any way that God is communicating that if you give me this, I'm going to replace that and more. What he's saying is that if you're faithful to me, I'm going to be faithful to you, and there's not going to be any doubt that when you are obedient, I am provider. That this is a reality that you can depend on. It's not a 1-for-1. It's not even a 1-for-10. It's not an investment program.
Right.
It's an obedience and a gratitude. Amen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I said I was going to ask you, what does it mean to have your first fruits reflected as with regard to finance in your family?
Well, my immediate thought is tithing. That you tithe your...
We haven't used that word in this whole series. What does tithing mean?
Tithing. I think that's exactly what this is he's saying give your first fruits is tithing. It's giving the best of what you have back to the Lord. And for us...
And the first.
And the first, yeah. The first best. Yeah. For those of us who aren't farmers, we don't have crops per se. I mean, I think that means our paycheck. And so you give 10% or whatever the Lord lays on your heart to give. You give it first, you give it intentionally and cheerfully
and sacrificially.
Yeah. And I think that's honoring the Lord with your wealth, but it also... Is that what you asked me?
Yeah.
Honor the Lord with your wealth. That's part of it.
The first fruits.
Yeah.
What does it mean? And you're equating, saying you've seen so many times in the Old Testament, first fruits and tithe go together, that in the stewardship sense, that means that before you pay your bills, before you spend on yourself, honor God, honor the Lord with the first fruits of your wealth.
Right.
Which means that He's up front and He's not at the end. He's not leftovers.
Right.
Right.
He doesn't get what you have left. Yeah.
Yeah. And so let's just be straight up that if we use the tithe in the strict Old Testament sense of the 10%, there are families right now that would have to sell a child into, some kind of...
But since that's not legal...
because there's just no way.
Right.
There is no way that they could pull that off. So that obedience begins at the level of sacrifice. That obedience begins at the level of intentionality. And honestly, if you look, you say, well, can I give 1%? Oh, yeah, I could do 1%. Well, how about 2? Well, no, you said 1. Yeah. Now, where does it begin to sting a little bit?
Yeah.
Where do you learn to be grateful for what you've been given by feeling it leave and saying, I want to be a part of this. I want to give back to the one who gave to me, trusting that He gave it to me and that I'll be able to get that back. Right?
Yeah, yeah. It's a sacrifice. And wasn't it King David that said, a sacrifice that costs me nothing is no sacrifice?
I will not offer a sacrifice that costs me nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's for me, I know when I first became a Christian, I didn't tithe because I'm like, I don't have 10 cents to my name. Like I can't even drive my car this week because I don't have gas money. But as I learned and I started to grow up in my faith, I realized that it wasn't the 10% He's wanting. It's the heart willing to let go of the things that He was wanting. And for a long time, I tithed my time. I tithed. I helped it. I taught Sunday school, or I did this, that, or the other, just because, Lord, I want to give back. I want to love you back. I don't know how to give you money at this point. But it was through that kind of obedience that I did learn to say, okay, I have $10. I'll give you 1.
So let me ask you this, because that raises a good issue. One I've had 2 hallway conversations on so far in the series we're doing at church on generosity. Maybe you started making more money, got a new job, right? You married a rich man, and
yes.
So now that's not an issue. Because you had been, when you did not have the ability to make ends meet, you were serving the Lord with time. Can you just go on doing that and say, you know what, I'm just going to continue to just give time. That's how I'm going to give. I'm not going to give financially. Would you think that would translate to obedience in your life?
Well, it became an expectation that I am going to give my time. But as I grew up, I mean, that was the spiritual milk. But as I grew up to start eating spiritual food, the expectation then became, I can offer you more. And that's what no.
Yeah, maturity lends you to a place where you go, that was what I could do. Now here's what I can do. And at least here's what I should do.
Yeah.
And so He's either Lord of all
Or he's not Lord at all.
Lord at all.
Yeah.
And that means what? That if you don't have a dime to your name, you can't do that. Then you can't offer anything.
Right.
You don't even have widow's mites. You can't put those in there. But you do. You give time. You serve. You're grateful. And then as you've been faithful in a little, and he makes you faithful over much, now you got to be faithful over much.
Yeah.
It's letting him be Lord of your life, and you become a steward. You were a steward of your time. Then you became a steward of your time and your talents.
Right.
Your resources.
Yeah. But you grow up in that, and as you grow, you see how God is faithful, how he does provide what you need, how he does in those moments when you're like, I just need to make it to the gas station. maybe I'm the only one that does that. But I'm not.
You still do that, but not because you don't have the money to put gas in your car.
It's just because anyway, lots of reasons for that. But there was actually a long time that I'm like, Lord, I need one more day out of this gas tank and I get paid tomorrow. And you know what? He did that. But he showed himself to be faithful and true every single time that I could trust him no matter what.
Yeah. And that is kind of the point of this passage. Before we actually come to where we make a point, let's just finish up this Bible study by saying these things that we're talking about are kind of the no-brainers, the things that we understand. Honor God with your first fruits. He will bless you. He will give back. But make sure you understand, this is not a prosperity theology. This is a priority theology.
Oh, that's good.
The entirety of this passage is about how do you make God the priority in your time, in your relationships, in your parenting, and in your finances.
Yeah.
How do we make him number one? Honor the Lord with your first fruits. So now let's get to the point here. What do we think that this is actually instructing us to do? I would say that hands down, without saying it's a tithe or 10%, without saying you got to have a comma in it or not. Some of us hadn't seen a comma in our bank account in years. So it's not about amounts. It's not about any of that. The first thing that I think this is talking about is give first. Right?
Yeah.
To make that a priority, it's that you give from the first fruits, you give off the top. We learn how to sacrifice before we self-soothe, right? What is that? We got a grandbaby, and he's in that age where he's got to learn to start sleeping, and it can't always be Dad carrying you around, Mama swaddling you.
Yeah.
You got to learn to
driving miles and miles and miles.
to keep him in the car seat. You got to learn to self-soothe.
Yeah.
And God bless him. I'm so glad I'm not in that place anymore.
They're doing a great job.
But what we've learned to do is we self-soothe with our habits, our addictions, our spending, this and that. And we need to learn to first, of the points I want to make, the first thing we have to learn is that we have to learn to give and to honor the Lord with our first fruits. Thoughts?
Right on. Yeah. It gets a lot harder to give after you've paid the bills, after you've done this, after you've done that, after you've given to all the other stuff. It gets way harder to give back to the Lord, because then you look at it and you're like, I don't have hardly anything left. So if you give it first.
If you don't give first fruits, then sometimes you're the bottom of the barrel. That's not good fruit at all.
Right.
That's the struggle. And by the way, I don't know if they could hear that, but you got applauded for your answer. Just our collegiate ministries meeting, our studio
That's a loosely used
in the
term.
corner of our children's supply closet. And
we're so bougie.
Yes, we are. And they're right out there, even though they're not paying attention to our on-air sign.
No, no, I can't. All I see are bodies going back and forth across the door.
They're playing some kind of game. And I'm so glad. They should have
they're
fun.
having a great time,
they're
which
not,
is
not
awesome.
bothering. It just sounded like they were applauding you.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
yeah,
Okay.
thanks, fellas.
So here's the first thing. In our families, this kind of generosity is we got to learn to give first.
Yeah.
And then why is that? Because generosity becomes a culture in your family.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you aren't, kids naturally are pretty generous up front.
Yeah.
And then they get selfish. Protect
Also
mine.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a learned behavior. So we have to create generosity as a culture. That's why giving first is important, because kids learn what you celebrate.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
Whatever they see you get emphatic over. Have you ever watched a kid, those videos where dad's going ballistic over something that happened on a game, and the kids are upset going, rah, 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 rah. They don't have a clue what's going on.
Right.
but they're caught up in that. And if you are celebrating and excited about generosity, then they will be as well. If you're overprotective and you're tight-fisted, then they're going to be as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Nathan.
True. I was just thinking this. Thing.
Good. You go there then, because Nathan, as a young boy, he was overly generous. He must have seen something and locked onto it. And we're sometimes going, we just got you that for Christmas yesterday. But he was overly generous. Yeah,
we've talked about this before. I don't know if it was on To the Point or CPXL when we did it, but like one year for Christmas, we searched high and low for those, what are they called? They're little action figures. And they were in sets, and he loved them, thought they were the greatest things ever. And he was like third grade.
Was that
something
how old was?
Yeah. It was young. And we remember this was back when Kmart was here. And
this was a long time ago.
Yeah, we looked at Kmart and Walmart and Target. We drove to Salina or Wichita to look at Target. I don't remember, but we hunted and hunted for these. There were only 3 sets, and we got all 3 sets, and we were so excited that he was going to have them all.
And he was ecstatic when he opened.
He opened them up, and he was like, wow. And then he goes, Michael's going to love this one, and Andrew's going to love this one. And my heart's like, what?
He didn't even have them out of the package and was giving them away.
He was so excited. And we're looking at each other like, oh, what do we do? Because
quit being generous.
Quit being so nice. Yeah. So it was like, open-handed. But, and he did. He ended up giving them away, which was fine.
And both our boys have ended up staying generous.
Yeah.
And
thankfully.
because it's something you do learn in the home. It is a character trait. It is a part of who you are. So we give first, if that's what this passage is talking about. If that becomes the priority, it's priority theology, not prosperity theology. Right. We give first because generosity becomes a culture. Kids learn what you celebrate. And when you're a generous household, here's the amazing thing, is that trust becomes visible. They start seeing your faith in you saying, no, we do this first. God will cover this. We don't need a backup plan. We don't need 3 feet of escape route to get out. It might be a little tight. Guess what? We're not going to go out to eat this Friday. And we're going to stay home and eat frozen pizzas because we'd rather do this. And when they start seeing that trust, that is a faith builder for them as well. They actually get to not just hear you say it, but live with you as you practice it. Isn't that beautiful?
I completely agree. We have not always been great at this, but it is something that we strive for, and that we really tried to help the boys to understand that it's faith. Well, I think it goes back to the faith without action is dead. And part of that action is trusting God. Yeah. And using what he gave us the way he wants us to, even if we don't want to necessarily.
Well, and what we just have to come to terms with is that money isn't neutral.
Yeah.
I mean, money's not good or bad, but it's our handling of it. Money is a discipleship issue.
Yeah.
And it's a discipleship issue for us and for our kids. So as a family, we have to handle that the way we need to handle that.
Yeah.
Which means it's time for our 2 cents. What do we want to do about this? I think that one of the challenges I would give us is that if we are going to honestly believe a passage like this and trust the Lord with our finances, it's going to mean that we need to maybe, if we've never done it before, just do what we're already doing, but do it first, right? Yeah. Write that check first. Or go to your church. Our church is like one of many, and set up that automatic withdrawal.
Yeah,
Will you do that? That's commitment there. And you do that thing first. And let me just stress that if you do that, I got another 2 cents for you. If you do the automatic withdrawal, that's a good thing. It's a great thing. It's great stewardship. Talk about it as a family.
Yeah.
Remember it. During the offering, grab each other's hands and thank God that you were able to do that. Let them know. Because if you live in one of those worlds where the plate comes by or the bucket goes by and the kids never see you put anything in, they need to know that you've made that decision.
That's a great point.
So, you got anything for our 2 cents? Or are you just going to ride on my double nickel there?
Well, I can't think of anything to add.
I can't drive 50. I'm still dealing with it. I am 55 now.
You are 55.
Yes, we are. So that's our 2 cents. That
we.
Well, you will be soon. Yeah, you're married to an older man 4 months a year. Deal with it.
That's right.
So go ahead and practice that to give first and just see what in the world the Lord might do. I think it's a blessing in ways that we can't even imagine, to follow the Lord in that, to trust in that, and to make sure that your family, your kiddos are aware.
Yeah.
It's not braggadocious. It's not violating what your right hand is doing with your left hand, right? That you're actually discipling in that.
Yeah.
So,
I think I do have a 2 cents.
Go for it.
Actually.
Wait. There we go.
It would be that your first fruits it's a decision that you and the Lord make, that no one can tell you, you have to give 10% or you have to give this much amount. It's, you need to pray and ask God, what is it that you want me to give? And as a family or as a couple, or if you're by yourself, it's not a pressure from someone else.
That's right.
That can tell you what you're supposed to give.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful word. It has to be a Holy Spirit led, a gift of worship coming back, because God does not need anything.
He doesn't need your 47 cents. He's got it. He's
or
good.
your $47 million, whatever
exactly.
you got. He's more than fine.
Yeah.
But he wants that. He wants that to affect your heart.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. Well, here we go. We are 3 weeks down of our 4-week series on what we're doing with being stewards in our family. Next week, we are going to be talking about, I have to look at the paper so I can tell myself, stewards of the future.
Nice.
The future. Is that SpongeBob? Yes, it's so. Squidward. The future. If you're mad that we watched that, I'm very sorry. But that's funny. Anyway, next week, we're going to be talking about stewarding our future, and it'll be the journey. So thankful for you being here and helping us out with this study, Miss Addis.
Yeah,
we're having a good time. So we will collect our thoughts, get ourselves ready, and we'll see you again very soon on another episode of To the Point.
Thanks for joining us on To the Point. If today's conversation encouraged you, head over to crosspointchurch.com/podcast to catch previous episodes and discover other podcasts you might enjoy. And don't forget to subscribe, share with a friend, and join us next time as we keep the conversation going. To the Point.